Hey, my name is PolishLynx and this is the irae Amantes. We can continue. The whirlwind raged through the corridors of the castle, turning everything to rubble in its wake. This guy got crazy. No consciousness remained in Schreiber's mind. His ego had long since crumbled. He was no more than an indiscriminate maelstrom of carnage now. Which is problematic, that's for sure. And the eye of the tornado, the most terrible of raging beasts, stood he, or rather she. Mari had sealed Ren's ego within his subconscious and was now the one controlling his body, which is not good. In a way, one could think of it as a malfunction of the irae, for it was nothing as simple or negative. She wished to protect him. She craved to save his soul. For the young man by the name of Ren Fuji had been an oddly irritating man. He held his tears when sad, remained steadfast when terrified. He was a paragon of endurance and mock bravado. He took everything on his shoulders, as if getting hurt and spilling blood was part of his inborn duty. And that was why Mari judged the current reality too much for him. Kasumi died, Shiro died, Eli died, Rahimura was missing. If all that came down upon him at the same time, he would doubtless break. He would blame himself and refuse to share the pain, falling apart from the inside. Mari would not have it. It was something she refused to let happen. But doesn't that mean that will happen eventually? You would need to keep yourself in his body forever in order for him to not crumble then. After all, she too was to blame. Now that's bullcrap. Mari remembered what Kei had told her. She did not stop Ren from going to Ra's place simply to avoid being thought of as a bothersome woman. It was more coincidence that the action led to Kasumi's death, but Mari couldn't just brush it off as bad luck. And there's nothing bad about that. Her self-absorbed ideas that her seat was right next to Ren's only ended up bereaving the young man of his son. He didn't need Kasumi, he needed Mari, and that made her happy. Conceit and envy seems most grave. Who cares? Speaking of sins, yesterday technically already. Yesterday, so October 31st, I read in the internet that some priest basically said that Halloween is not a Christian thing and it should not be celebrated by Christians at all, and it's a sin to celebrate it. And yeah, seriously, the churches, the priests were freaking ridiculous. Seriously. Oh yeah, and one of the Polish politics side said that they might force schools to not celebrate Halloween as well. So basically, not only the school system already sucks totally, they will also try to get rid of stuff that people, children might enjoy. So yeah. How is this country still existing? I don't know. Anywho, back to the church. You'd realize, actually this is actually aimed at the churches, what I'm saying now. You'd realize that The stuff you celebrate yourself is not freaking of the Christian origin as well. Back to game. They manifested in the form of Kasumi's death, regardless of the actual cause. That was what Mari thought. For not doing so would mean shifting the blame in the most dastardly of ways. This was her punishment, the worst possible outcome. The Hell's Eyes Isaac prepared for his guests have been merciless, most of them were already dead. As such, it was the role of Mari, the most sinful of them all, to turn the tables and vaporize the glass hymn of despair. She vowed to expunge the darkness that robbed the young man of his son. In that sense, Mari currently possessed both the ultimate resolve and the acute mentality for battle. She was able to synchronize with her master to the level where she could forcefully invoke his very craving. Her very essence had turned to a sharpened blade, and she had the skill to wield it, for she was the princess of the guillotine. No other soul in the universe decapitated more men than Mari. Still, none of her swings could reach their target. Her technique had been supreme, her resolve unmatched. Her speed exceeded that of her Yetzirak degree by over 400 times. Her insecure sphere possessed the power to slow one's own time, resulting in incredible speed in the real world. To Mari's eyes, all existence appeared as if frozen in place, and yet she could not keep up with Shaiba. In a world that seemed to have stopped in time completely, the Irrationality had turned to a comet of inconceivable speed. Because, if you could say that, the two powers are not compatible at all. The one to slow everything, the one to be so fast to not be touched. The sky trembled with explosions as the mad beast howled. What words would leave his lips now that his mind had been thoroughly consumed by madness and rage? Don't touch me, don't touch me, don't come any closer, begone, grim reaper, out of my sight, begone, don't touch me. So that was the essence of it. Wolfgang Schreiber evaded physical contact to an incomprehensible degree. His craving to arbitrage and caught up to manifested in the form of ungodly speed. As such, his acceleration had no limits. 500 times, 600 times. Mari had accelerated to a speed that at this point was ludicrous to even try to imagine, and yet Schreiber was faster. That fact filled her with both terror and awe. A blade could be the sharpest one in existence, and it still meant naught if it could not hit the target. Even Mari was able to decapitate others without direct touch. It was the worst possible opponent for her, as well as the worst possible situation. Both possessed the power to accelerate without limits, yet one condition drew a little difference between the two. One could grow faster beyond any limit, the other could grow faster than anyone else. Even if Mari reached the speed of light, Schreiber would still be faster, for he would, in theory at least, accelerate to always be one step ahead. Mari's own strength proved to be her undoing. It turned the Irrationality of madness into the most powerful existence there ever was. Her swing cut through the afterimage of the beast again, and at the same time she felt something explode in the vicinity of her temple. Was that a kick, a fist, or an elbow? She had no way of discerning even that, but the bloody mist that now covered her vision had most likely originated from the both of them. Schreiber loathed being touched, yet he attacked with punches and kicks. The fact transcended the territory of merely strange, plunging down into the realm of insane contradictions. He had grasped his craving and fashioned his own world, all the while decimating its very rules. Well, he didn't like to be touched, but yeah, he never said about him not touching someone else, right? I guess, if that makes any sense. What was the meaning of this? He craved for a world where no one could touch him. It would fall apart the moment someone did, which meant that Schreiber should have been exceedingly vulnerable in his mad dash, as the collapse of one's craving equal death. Logic dictated that a mere touch would put an end to the beast. However, the number of times he hit Mari had left his own limbs in ruins, spurting blood in all angles. He had forgotten even that. His soul had been wrecked to the degree that it refused to acknowledge even such an obvious contradiction. A touch should have broken him, a touch should have killed him, yet he was an adherer of Nibelheim, a champion of the fallen who discovered and discouraged beyond the precipice. Good one. World's best games. Yay. Good joke. His zeal refused to acknowledge the collapse of this world. It could contradict himself as many times as it wanted. He did not care. A devilish logic, absolute palpable insanity. Even if his own arms were to break while pulverizing his foes, Schreiber would not take notice. No lethal collapse would occur, as the beast did not realize he had been touched, and with that, the loss of the demonic magic would respond, healing his wounds at an ungodly speed. In short, the more he killed, the stronger he would become. His craving being the evasion of physical contact. Schreiber did not exactly possess a robust body. In exchange, however, all those he killed and devoured would serve as fuel for regeneration. Under these circumstances, his state of absolute savage madness, the Ashen Knight was almost immortal. His maddened bloodlust raged like a whirlwind. He was tempest that transcended the very concept of speed. He was Hrodevitnir, the one who would never devour heaven and earth alike in a single gulp. The more he killed, the stronger he became. In truth, he, having sown the seeds of destruction and regeneration in a seemingly infinite fashion, sheltered exactly 185,731 souls behind that eye patch of his. His souls were a mix of warriors and powerless innocents. In terms of sheer numbers, he exceeded Eleanor and Machina threefold. His world record of murder would not be broken, not now and not ever. Therefore, no matter how resolute Mari was in her conviction, no matter how courageously she held on, making the sunrise in the waste would have been an easier task than defeating Schreiber in his present state. Although another unexpected impact sent Mari tumbling down to the ground, she jumped her feet and steadied herself at the very next second. Looking around, she realized she was in a throne room.
ようこそ、よく参られた。我が城、楽しんでいただけたかな?
That voice, that face, and the soul that seemed like an abyss, terror filled Mari's heart. Reinhard Heydrich. Rather than escaping from hell, she was plunged straight into its very core. That was the name of that child. If she remembered correctly, it seemed like there were no holes in his design. Seeing Mari grinned her teeth, Reinhard furrowed his brows. He then made a graceful smile.
これは、随分と奇妙な形で再会となったものだな。いや、面白い。
The man realized that Mari was the one in control of Ren's body right now. The eyes of gold saw through it all, betraying no surprise. He claimed it to be interesting, but it was unlikely he genuinely felt the thing. In the same fashion as Isaac, he too was a being of distorted senses. Or could it be that his were merely worn out?
予想外とはいいものだ。それが基地であれ、未知であれ、悪くない。どうかな、この状況。カールは慌てているのかね？それとも、笑っているのかね？知りたいな。そして、K の株も見てみたい。
An explosion reverberated across the room as Reinhard turned around, returning to his throne. Schreiber entered the room through one of the walls. He was not the only one who present in this room for.
言った通りだ。加減など不要。楽しませろ。
The Crimson Knights of Roberto and the Somber Knight of Nigredo had been silently standing by at both sides of the throne. It seemed like Mari would have to fight the battle in three, the strongest beings in the whole castle, all at once.
御意、仰せのままに。ビルフライルってこのに一つ出
And so the battle began, accompanied by immeasurable despair. There was nothing she could do. She could not even beat Schreiber in a one-on-one fight, and now there were two more. Not to mention Reinhardt himself on the throne. At this point, she could not even hope to entertain him as a clown. Mary managed to dodge Schreiber's attack out of reflex, but what's next? Ren's body was already at its limit, littered with countless wounds and painted thoroughly crimson. Escape should have been her top priority right now, but there was no way the tree would ever allow it. She had to find a way to defeat at least one, and as long as she failed to break out of the encirclement, they would simply crush her. Schreiber took the shape of an ungodly whirlwind once again. She had no chance against this one. What about the other two? Mary came to a decision in 1 millisecond and once again turned herself into a supersonic blade. Well, honestly, I think it would be easier if she actually let Ren go crazy, because that might basically lead to him awaking to some new power or something like that. But that's just my guess. She leapt towards Eleanor. It had been just her intuition, but the ironclad man had entirely too ominous aura about him. It was likely not a good idea to try and face him head-on. As such, she chose the Crimson Knightess as her target. Schreiber might have outmaneuvered her, but Ryan's craving was still not a force to be taken lightly. Mark had already learned the sheer importance of speed and how it could decide the outcome of most battles. She closed the distance between herself and the Crimson Knightess in an instant, swinging the guillotine at her neck. If she managed to collapse a pillar of the Imperial Guard with this, there might still be a chance for her to get out of this life. She prayed things would go the way she hoped. She would protect Ren, embrace his word, and have him praise her for atoning for her sins. However, how could this be? Mary accelerated to inhuman haste as she flanked Eleanor, yet the Crimson Woman caught her by the neck before she could even begin her attack. Why? How did she know? Mary exceeded her speed manifold. The woman could have dodged her attack out of coincidence, but to catch her by the neck? Why on earth did she not notice her hand before it touched her?
私を何だと思ってる？これでも英雄の一角だぞ。千の戦場、万の殺し合い、一言で言えば経験だ。早かろうが見えなかろうが、一直線すぎる殺意など、あくびが出るよ。至極読みやすい。翻して、読まれにくくする術もある。虚と実、基本だ。戦士と殺人狂を一緒にされては困るな。
Mary's conscience grew hazy as Eleanor slammed her head in the floor. Her grip had been that of steel, and no matter how hard Mary struggled, she could not shake the woman's hand off.
さあ、我らが君を失望させるな。
The woman tossed her away like a rag doll. Mary flew to the air towards the somber knight, treading his fist in silence. That's bad. Marina fully comprehended, felt with her every pore that the ominous feeling she had about the man was no illusion. Whatever it had been, he was bad news. Very bad. She would most certainly die if she got hit by those fists. And that was why she had to make sure that the future where Ren followed this man did not exist. No worries. An iron fist pierced through the air. It was fairly sluggish, just as she had anticipated. As such, she could dodge it. She had to dodge it. Mary ordered every fiber of her being to focus on evasive maneuvers. She twisted her body mid-flight, evading the fist by her breath, yet the incredibly strong blast of wind that followed the fist wave caught and swept her aside. Right toward Schreiber, who had been waiting for his chance. She managed to protect her car teeth, altering the spur of the moment, but the beast still managed to bite out a chunk of her shoulder, spraying blood all around. Actually, Ren's shoulder. What should she do? What should she do? She took control of Ren's body without pressure, yet instead of saving him, she would have him killed at this rate. Would have been for the best if she never existed in the first place. Let him control it. It wasn't true, she would not have allowed it. There had been a meaning to their meeting, and in order to prove that, she had to get them both out of this persuasion. Let him control the body, goddammit! Let him control the body, Mari, for fuck's sake! She concentrated all her power with a scream and increased her speed even further. At this point, she had 3,000 times more speed than Ren's yet degree. Why won't she listen? Let him control the body, dammit! She was but a flash of light now, sounding a vigorous battle cry as she paced down the immortal carrier. With no time to study her aim, she lunged at Machina, who had been standing the closest. This time she would not let him dodge. Her speed should have transcended the very concepts of prediction and intuition. The blade of the guillotine crushed in the neck of its target with ungodly speed. Yet... yeah, it did not get through the barrier of souls, right? What was it now? When did the head fall off? And also she lacked conviction. So it was not only the souls. A sullen voice of iron reverberated across the room.
逃げる気でいるのだろう。俺たちを残らず殲滅する気がないのだろう。一人倒し、あるいは生死。俺も言わせてもらおうか。なめるな。
God damn it, Mari. Let Ren control the body. Because he will have that conviction. He will want to massacre them all. I mean, you know what happened in the previous episodes, right? If you watched, you know, so this guy, yes, he has to be massacred. The woman as well. The crazy bastard, yes, he or she or whatever it is as well. Mari felt like a frog in the eyes of a snake. The summer night's bloodlust or perhaps ire made her freeze in terror.
俺の聖戦を愚弄するなよ、娘。奴を出せ。
Exactly.
お前などひねりつぶしたところで、俺は永遠に終われない。
No buts. God damn it. She didn't wish to protect Ren. She did not want to expose his soul to this kind of bloodshed. He had already been hurt enough, he had endured enough. She wanted to embrace and protect him.
死を感じねば目が覚めんか、兄弟。いいだろう。この娘、殺す。すべて失え。お前の不甲斐なさが皆を殺すのだ。俺のようにあらゆる不純物を削ぎ落とすがいい。
In that moment, Mari's body moved on its own. She had only been standing in place, yet before she knew it, she had been flying through the air and away from Machina. Did he wake up? She felt nothing fall. What did this mean, then? It confused her, but... The air itself exploded, shooting Mari down from the sky.
あまり飛び回られても面倒なのでね。区画を限定させてもらったよ。この檻からは出られん。
As she looked more closely, Mari spotted many little sparks floating in the air. They would most likely explode just like the one before if she came in contact with them. Such callousness, such forwardness. Mari found herself trapped in a cage of fire. It seemed like Eleanor was not planning to provide her with the slightest chance of escape.
まあ、それも人並みの神経を持っている相手に限るわけだがね。
The meaning of her words revealed itself in the next moment. Schreiber closed in Mari like a bloodthirsty storm. He stressed the idea of never being touched, yet paid no heed to the fact that he had been repeatedly colliding with Eleanor's barrier.
長い付き合いだが、初めて見たよ。しかしなるほど。これは確かに教授だ。
Hundreds of explosions and thousands of flames consumed Shriver in his mad dash, yet his charred skin and dismembered limbs would instantly regenerate the moment he lost them.
興味深いな。今まではただの狂犬と思い捨ておいたが、ここまで徹底すればベルセルク。剣を抜きたく。
Oh come on, you are talking about that sword so many times already. Not the first route you are talking about it and you've never used it. I bet you are faking about that.
私の全力を受けてなお、これは動けると思うか。どうだ。
Mari had no time to answer. Shriver broke through the flames and crashed into Mari, sending her flying to Eleanor's barrier. The resulting explosion set her flying straight at Machina, whose fists were ready for the kill.
男の戦場だ。消えるがいい、娘。
But there's another woman here, though. His soulless meeting fist pierced through the air and crashed into Mari.
無力だな。
Reinhardt made a troubled, almost compassionate smile.
それでは誰も守れない。
Not a single soul, all she would try to scoop up would fall through her fingers.
K の嘆き、胸に迫るよ。人類共通の悲しみだ。
The king of demons, the monarch of the dead, remarked on the misery of all humanity.
ゆえ、それを埋めるために私は来た。
How? Why? Mari was at a loss. The man before her revealed only devouring the souls of others.
絶望を奏でろ。哀絶を歌え。ケイラ、私を楽しませる楽器であろうが。DS イレを聴かせてくれよ。さすれば、そう、奪われたものを返してやるぞ。テレジアの命と引き換えにな。
His words ignited the flame in my soul, forcing it back into consciousness. The castle trembled, perplexing Isaac. What was this? Incomprehensible. He had been shivering. He had lost the control of the castle's souls. Their shackles fell and crumbled as they scattered, darting away from the center of the phenomenon. What? Impossible. Incomprehensible. The great champions under the golden banner, slaves to Isaac's absolute command, had been fleeing in terror from whatever happened there. He could not possibly acknowledge this. He was the heart of Vladsheim. No one could revoke the laws of hell. Despair? More despair. Save or rapture as you see for self what lies beyond the precipice. Ra felt like she heard his voice. She could tell he grieved. Don't cry. Please don't cry. You're going to make me cry too. I'm a wicked woman. Just forget me and be happy. You must live. You cannot die. I don't care what happens to me, but you have to survive. Please. Please. God. I'm begging you. Well, I'm pretty sure he won't do anything about it, for... Say Fuji, the man I love. Not me. It's Ra saying. Uh-oh. Game. Uh-oh. Game. Game. Okay. I might be wrong, but I think something is... Okay, it's alright. For a second, I was afraid the recording stopped. Mari plummeted back in the world of Willite, passing through Ren's retrofacing soul on the way. She proved to be useless. She only made things worse. What was she to do? What could she have done to be of genuine use to him? She begged for someone to give her an answer. If only she could put an end to his pain, then... A voice answered her miserable scream.
では
Was it God or the devil? It was both, and it was neither. The being to whom the throne belonged to wiggled his baton with a demonic smile. His expression was that of rapture, his movements that of an orchestral conductor, his heart that of festivity and boundless love.
Disbelievance.
Okay, I have no freaking idea what does it mean. Someone give me some translation. The outpouring will from the throne gave from a certain kind of transcendence.
日は古より変わらず星と競い定められた道を雷鳴のごとく疾走する
The words of his chant marched Maris, but the tone did not. As a result, his song was one of a deep-rooted malice and bloodlust, dark as a gaping abyss.
そして早く何より早く栄光の円環を駆け抜けよう
Maria addressed transcribing, she invoked the luster of his soul. But who was this prayer directed at?
光となって破壊しろその一撃で燃やし尽くせ
The core of the throne, the root of reality, the snake, he demanded power from the world's highest form of existence.
そうは誰も知らず届かぬ思考の創造我が渇望こそが原初の荘厳
And as a result, an ultimate netherworld manifested at Oglatsheim, one comparable to it in potency.
いや
Another hell. If the devil's castle stood as symbol of strife, then this one stood for infinite equanimity and ice, cocytus. Okay. Cocytus, I need to check it. Because I think I heard it, but I don't know about it. Come on. But, well, basically, thought he would invoke something. Oh! It's one of the rivers in Hades. Ah, one out of 5 rivers in Hades, okay. Interesting. Holy shit. He certainly became the devil. The word of eternal standstill. The 3 greatest demons of the first froze in awe, and who could blame them? They were overcome by a gravitational force tens of thousands of times stronger than what they had been used to. For no one could escape the absolute chains of time, not even the mightiest of demons. Only the monarch of destruction looked over the spectre with a smile on his lips. The manacle of stagnation tried shocking him just the same, but he paid it no heed.
なるほど。それが現状の究極系というわけだ。
How far did his power extend? All lost knowledge by Ran would freeze in time, and if that wasn't enough, he had increased his own speed by 1,000-fold. What would happen next hardly needed an explanation. The piercing call of a maddened beast shook walls, floor and ceiling alike, shattering the hell of 1,000 souls, leaving naught but dust and ashes in its wake. Drawing the screams of the crushed skeletons, the deepest layer of ultimate netherworlds, the interminable hell of Avicii, began its advance. Huh. Its first target was the Crimson Nightness. No complex reasoning preceded this choice, she merely stood closest to him. But that was a reason enough to seal the fate of the demon-ness of Muspelheim. Unforgettable, she would not acknowledge this. She launched 1,000 flaming cannonballs in a single second, each a triple eruption of carnage capable of decimating an average man 50 times over. Yet, the flames froze, stagnated. All had been consumed by the stencil the moment they entered Ren's reach. And as he stepped through the conflagration cascaded, a dozen club blades flew into the air, turning into a wind of annihilation, only to descend upon the crimson nightness. It instantly cut through Eleanor's barrier of flames and sent her flying towards the end of the throne room. The fact she managed to survive the attack stood testament to her skills as a warrior, and no one else in her place would have perished. Still, Eleanor would not acknowledge such inept reasoning. He made her crawl on the ground like a miserable insect before the eyes of her master. Despite being one of the Gold's Imperial Guard and the proud irae of Valhalla, she called back at the boy, her composure all gone.
なめるなよ人形風情が貴様の渇望ごとき影も残さず蒸発させてくれるわ
Eleanor jumped to her feet with a bellow. Brushing off the chains of stencil, regardless of the danger posed, the phenomenon was but a creation figment, one she could overwhelm with her own. At the same time, was true of the two other knights. Don't touch me, don't come any closer. The rabid beast beat through the shackles of stagnation with a call. He was the worst of amends for Ren. Even the master of eternal stencil could not catch up to the Ashen Knight in his modern state.
ようやく目が覚めたというわけか。
And Machina was no exception. The Iron Warrior, whose face could end all life with a single touch, spoke in a tone betraying a hint of joy.
俺の獲物だ。引けよ貴様ら。と言っても聞かんかな。
As snorted and growled, both mocked the bare nature of his supposition. All three had sworn absolute loyalty to Gold, and he demanded that they entertain him. As such, they had to prepare a spectacle worth of hell.
当天探知だ気に食わぬなら恋を巻きな貴様とは一度ケリをつけておきたかった
He would kick your ass!
そしてシュライバー貴様もな
Pretty sure it will be the same here.
屍となっても踊り続けるか。
ここらしいだろ
A battle royale where no one had allies, a fitting bout for Valhalla. They were immortal and here no matter how many times they perished they would come back to life. If it meant pleasing their master, one of them would hesitate to kill the others.
より絢爛により華々しく壮烈にだ御前で舞うなら印を競うのが英雄だろう譲りなどせんよ
The giant jaws of a cannon manifested behind Eleanor's back. Schreiber's held only the blood of prey in a mindless state, and his sharpened sense of smell told him there would be plenty of game to hunt.
是非もあるまいな。
Machina raided his fists of ruin. He would kill Ren himself, even if he had to kill two of his comrades to get to him. And he who had been the central target of the three Encarier's hostility. He too showed not a hint of fear. If anything, he welcomed their terrible bloodlust, for he would respond in kind. Absolute zero, silent wrath that turned everything to ice. The whole of Gladsheim trembled from its pressure.
クラフトの大体。
やはり化け物の子は化け物
That thing had been connected to something transcendent, an infallible realm that no human could enter. They could not explain it, yet both Machina and Eleanor felt it on their skin. The being before them was a monster true and true. Their vast combat experience told them such. What was of it? They had been in the presence of the monster for the past 60 years.
見せろ。ビビしく舞うがいい。
The impregnable gold was absolute. They would not acknowledge another monster. And with that, the coda of the Divinity Comedy began. known as Panzer Division Hohenstaufen. The thoughts of the imperial bastard reverberated across demonic castle walls. Isaac summoned the whole military force of hell to expunge the foreign body from his system. The 9th SS Panzer Grenadier Division, a squad consisting solely of purple-blooded Germans who had sworn to eradicate all those of an inferior race. It had all been a part of the goal, meant into this chaos. 100 troops manifested on the wall behind the throne, pointing their sights of Ren. Without giving their prey a moment's repose, they opened fire with lightning and steel. The 3 champions leapt forward, using the bombardment as their cue. Their mortal clash under a canopy of flames and debris was the true embodiment of Totentanz. Eleanor let her flames run wild, caring not who they consumed. Machina flailed his fists around, unconcerned who they destroyed. As for Sharpa, he had never known the concept of allies to begin with. The fist passed right next to Eleanor's cheek, chafing her skin. There is that inferno consumed with Ren and Schreiber in its flames. The scurrying beast gnawed a chunk of flesh from Machina's side, all the while maintaining its inhuman speed. 8 SS Cavaliere Division Florian Gea. Isaac kept adding more steel to the deathmatch. You've got to admit that they have pretty cool naming when it comes to German military. It was a veritable sight for hell, a pantheon of strife, screams of bloodlust and valor merged with explosions in one colossal cacophony. A true chorus of the battlefield, not even the greatest of orchestras could have played a more poignant tune of life and death. And the center of it all, an interminable netherworld holding bloody tears. His voice would not reach anyone, his thoughts would not flow, his mind had been a monochrome of omnipresent wrath. Wrath directed at himself, most of all. His impotence for being unable to save a single soul. His ineptitude for being unable to tear down the wall blocking his path, despite that being the sole thing he was capable of. Who are you? Who am I? What are you holding for? The dead were a bear trap, only good at getting it one's way. Then what do I do? What should I do? Pick 1,000 roses, find the key of release. Tear your legs off to crawl forward. Or sit down and rot in stagnation. No. He would do none of that. He obsessed over preserving everyone precisely because he wished to avoid a choice of this nature. He wished to expand that ataraxic moment into eternity. Broken things would not mend themselves. Days gone by would never return. Ah, such ridiculous craving. What point was there in stopping time once everything had already been lost? Forgive me, Casby. Forgive me, Shira. I will never hear your voice again. I will never have a chance to fight with you again. I cannot measure you through my ego. Do you wish to come back? Rest in peace. Kill me? I want to kill myself, most of all. I want to go where you guys are. Sakurai once told me that death would be the happiest outcome for me. But if I could allow my ego another word, just let me say one thing. No matter what, I can't let you melt into this dreadful castle. The craving of the interminable netherworld grew in power with another hole. Flames, steel, storms alike, everything rose in time. And
均衡は崩れてきたか。
for only by little the eternal stencil was indeed consuming the 3 battalion commanders. Shraba, through the nature of his craving, still rebelled against its ruthless law, but Machina and Eleanor both began showing hints of slowing down. For the depth of their cravings would simply not compare to Rand's. Completely negating the phenomenon of eternal stencil proved impossible, and even brief contact with it put the 3 carriers at a considerable disadvantage. To make matters worse, with only 5 swastikas open, none of them fought at their full capacity. As such, this case of the battle tipped ever so slightly in Ren's favor. And that marked the beginning of the end. Eleanor was the first to stop. Unlike Schreiber and Machina, her craving did not excel at any particular principle. Being highly adaptable was one of its strong points, yet that also made it easier for superior creation figments to overwhelm her. Still, it was ridiculous to suppose there were any that could possibly accomplish such a feat in the presence of the mighty Crimson Knightness.
死ね。
Yet indeed, there was one such being. A gale of crystallized death shot at the frozen Eleanor's neck. Machina, who jumped to fright, thwarting Ren's advance, was not trying to save his comrade. He merely knew that one let their guard down the most in the moment before they tried to go for the finishing blow. The iron fist shattered 3 of the blades, and with that Eleanor escaped with her life. Her neck had been 1/3 severed, but she still lived. A pair of eyes like seething embers fixed on Machina. The somber knight only managed to shatter 3 of the blades. By the time he got to the last one, he too froze in time like Eleanor.
お前が死ね。
A swing reed to instantly decapitate. Ren paid no heed to Schreiber as the beast latched onto his neck and proceeded with the lethal attack. In that moment, something reached his ears. Multiple facets of truth filled his mind from the beyond. He could neither ignore nor seal it in his subconsciousness. Just as Machina's fate was about to be sealed, Ren jumped back. He was not hurt. He did not reach his limit. It was neither an act of mercy, nor did he suddenly regain his senses. His devilish sixth sense merely made him realize a terrifying truth.
どうしたね？縁も竹縄というところだろう？しらけさせてくれるなよ。
Reinhard Heydrich looked down upon the young man from his throne. Ren could not feel even a semblance of bloodlust in that composed countenance of his, adorned only by an elegant smile. And that in itself was the most abnormal thing of all. A demonic festival of blood and valor had been enacted, its density unparalleled in scale extreme. All those present boasted powers equaling that of demigods, their hosts and bloodlust merged into a vortex that shook the very foundations of heaven and earth alike. So what was the meaning of this? To Reinhard, this violent storm felt hardly more significant than a summer breeze, or if to borrow his analogies, a tuning of an instrument before the actual performance. The gold remained far beyond the clouds, in caves uncharted. Ren's whole body trembled. Machina and Eleanor, released from the prison of time, slunk away, and even Schreiber seemed to take his distance from the two netherworlds. Reinhard languidly surveyed the room.
今日がそげたな。よかろう。
He stood up, sending devastating tremors throughout the megalocosmos.
K の波動、なかなかに面白い。ゆえ、試させてはくれんかな。
He extended his right arm as if aiming to shoot, and realizing what he was up to in a split second, froze in terrible awe. He was about to shake the very foundations of the universe. He would form the weapon of the gods.
奴ら。
All the souls of the castle swirled like a vortex as a golden light converged to summon the physical form of Weltall. The ultimate Achtenderbe, one dwarfing power all others, the legendary instrument of carnage that quaffed divine blood and buried even god of life.
Longinus Lanza Testamento.
Absorbing an infinite mass, the Holy Lance had been formed. Its divinity and sheer condensed power existed on a whole other level from anything else that existed within the mortal realm. An average man would melt and evaporate by merely having pointed in his direction, and even the demons of the obsidian table had trouble sustaining their consciousness while in its vicinity. Waves of annihilating rage swept across the landscape like a hurricane. Yet in contrast to it, the voice of God drifted in a calm and gentle tone.
これを止められる力量があるかなしか。実に興味が尽きぬよ。では、いざ参ろうか。
It was but a single thrust from the beginning, plied millions of war-ravaged souls cold aging for the release of their united power. No being alive could survive contact with that weapon, and no way in hell could it be stopped by something as big as time. Still, in that moment, Ren saw something behind Reinhardt's back.
見事よくぞ槍を抜かせた。
What was that supposed to mean?
これより流出の兆しが生まれる。
And so what?
さあ、私の写し身として意義を果たせ。
Who was I? Puzzlement, confusion, frenzy, irritation, terror, sorrow, rage, and hope you did understand what's written here. He was basically saying that. Asked for help and so he answered, that was all. Transcendent madness. Golden light. Impending destruction. A vague memory in the back of the head. Okay, I actually do remember what I'm supposed to choose here, so... The truth about my being. Actually, well, no matter how we look at it, we would know it's that answer, actually, because we've seen that little bit of a screen right now that was shown before with a bit of a story, so I got the idea that it's about Ren already. Kinda. So yeah. I realized what would happen if I recalled it. What was this finale leading to? Therefore, I finally remembered what had been the most important right now. I couldn't allow her life to fall prey to our vanity. For such was my nature, I could do nothing about it. There was but one thing I had to concentrate on right now, and now was but precisely my greatest chance. So, Reinhardt condensed all of his greatest souls into summoning the Holy Lance. In other words, everything else within the castle had grown shallow. Gladsheim, once whirling with millions of seething souls, felt almost translucent now. I could see down to its very depths. This wouldn't have happened under normal circumstances. One or two trusts wouldn't have made Reinhardt Heirish's word waver. But if his swastikas were open at present, furthermore his Beragard, the battalion free, had been summoned in their full strength. If that alone was enough, Isaac himself participated in the battle as well. In other words, most of the castle's military strength was currently concentrated in the throne room. And that was why I caught a glimpse of her. I could feel the presence of Raimur, still imprisoned within the depths of his cell, surrounded by death at all angles. I now knew her precise location. I dodged out of the Holy Lance path and plunged the sea of the dead. That was no easy feat either, but I had Marit's words engraved in my heart. Have a strong image of your world, believe in yourself, and as long as you remain stubbornly conscious of the woe in your heart, even hell will prove no castle to topple. And so, Himor grew more and more distinct in my eyes. I could see her silhouette at the core of Gladsheim, wallowing in blood overcome by despair. It's alright, don't make that face. Please don't think I'd be better off with you dying. I'm glad to have met you, to have become friends with you. I had fun being with you, and so did you, right? And if that's so, be proud of that fact. Believe in the integrity of your own feelings. The bogus causality that filling your head with don't matter. No one had the right to rob people of freedom. So she hadn't done anything, she had the right to live. Or rather, I couldn't bear if she didn't. She was dear to me. I didn't want her to die. So come on, let's get out of this hellhole together. I'll save you, so please, trust me. I know I'm unreliable good for nothing, but please, take my hand. I swear I'll never let go of it again. And I won't let you pull me inside. So please stop obsessing over death. And in that moment, my hand finally reached her. A deafening explosion shook the place. Rana ducked her head and curled up while bound by the gears of a jet plane. She could neither breathe nor open her eyes. What on earth happened? For the situation itself transcended her understanding, Ira could at least realize that she was in someone's arms. With nothing else to do, she clung onto whoever it was. The body of her savior seemed very firm and cold as ice, almost as if she had been rescued by a chunk of sentient steel. The whole thing felt beyond unreal to her. Is this how the bride of a devil felt? Whoever held her could not have been human. The creature's grip was strong enough to demolish a building with no more effort than one crushed a plastic bottle. Her entire being screamed that this savior of hers was no man, but a genuine monster through and through. Yet she felt no fear. Only sadness. It was the gentleness in the demon's touch, and the careful consideration for her fragile frame that made her feel like a bride. She could tell that it was trying to protect her, putting her above all else. There was no way she could not realize the truth. There was no way she could remain ignorant. Demon was only a figure of speech that intruded upon her vocabulary due to having spent the last few hours in hell. There was no way she wouldn't recognize her gentle savior. She had to say it, she had to force her voice out, open her blind eyes and console the man of her dreams. She would shrink back from nothing and no one if it meant helping him. Please, God, don't take him away from... It's easy, Fuji. Let he alone be at... Good! Her vision returned the moment the scream left her lips. It was indeed him. It was him. No matter how much he had changed, his appearance could never fool Rena's. He saved her. He rescued her. But what? This was too... What had happened to him? His dreadful appearance filled Rena's chest with pain. A body dark as copper, eyes crimson with tears of blood, a blade ravaged by rust, broken beyond repair. Fuji's heart had eroded and now hung on its last thread. This was Ra's fault. He became like this for her. Oh, for fuck's sake! Can those women stop saying it's their fault? God damn it! She couldn't do anything. She hoped to alleviate his torment, but he knew of no way to do so. Wouldn't it have been better if she had never existed after all? Was she just a burden to the world? Not to him, goddammit. If she was too heavy, he could cast her aside. He ought to put her out of her misery with his own two hands. He didn't need to push himself that far, enduring all this pain for her sake. Maybe he wants to, damn it. Above all else, she couldn't forgive herself. Okay, she could keep repeating the name, so let's skip this. The fact she was actually enjoying the situation, wishing to extend it forever, was a testament to her own wretchedness. It was undeniably true that those shameless feelings currently dominated most of her being. She wanted him to look at her and be disillusioned. How could she discard her in dreams when he kept being so kind to her? Could he hear her voice? Could he see her face? A weak woman like her humor did not deserve Fuji in the slightest.
君は意外に短気で嘘つきで隠し事多い上に素直じゃなかったりするけどさ、鋭いくせに鈍いふりしてすぐ痩せ我慢してカッコつけてさ。
Ra could name dozens of his flaws, yet in her eyes the young man sparkled in the enthralling brilliance of a seraph. To her, he was the most amazing guy on earth, which irrevocably led her to...
いい加減もうやめてよ。いつまで無理してるのよ。バカじゃないの。
Sure. Ra was pretty serious.
黙ってろ。
But Ra knew full well that a pig-headed idiot like him would never listen to a single word she had to say. He felt someone's presence behind him. Damn, Ren's consciousness kept fading out and rest facing. His mental faculties had been completely frozen, drinking the beast that only obeyed the instinct. As such, he smelled the whirlwind of bloodlust before anyone said it could have. A mother beast had been pursuing him from behind. Naturally, he did not expect an easy escape, and he needed none of his conscious mind to realize that his instincts were enough. At this point, it would have been foolish to even question who the beast behind him was. There was but one being who could keep up with his speed. Shut up! The encounter fought battle lunged at him with a howl so fierce it seemed to grew and seared at the sky itself. Schreiber, like before, moved at a pace one step ahead of Ren. He teared in his time and manifested the concept of the fastest without paying any heed to final or its laws. Only God could put a leash on him, this ashen beast hold, his one exposed eye seething with mud and rage. As such, Ren was at serious disadvantage. There was no worse opponent for him. No matter how much one stagnate time, they could not outrun the Ashen Knight and would be forced to always remain one step behind. And there was one more thing holding him back. Ren could not fight properly while holding her in his arms. Besides simply limiting his maneuverability, the girl's body could not possibly withstand his supersonic dash. Unconsciously, or perhaps due to more retrofacing snippets of his consciousness, he prioritized Ra's safety above all else. His blades extended like wings, forming a shield to cover the girl from the bloodthirsty whirlwind. And from the perspective of a hunter, it made Ren open for an attack. Cool. Whatever he said. Schreiber finally caught up to them, snapping one of the blades off. Fresh blood erupted from the broken weapon, and Ren, now robbed of a wing, lost his balance and had to slow down. What awaited him after that was a bloodbath. Although both of them plunged down from the sky, Schreiber twisted his body around mid-flight, kicking off the air to once again launch at Ren. Ra had no idea what had been going on. Everything was moving too fast for her to make out, not to mention Ren's blades blocked her vision. They still gently covered her, protecting her body from the whirlwind outside. She could tell Ren had been slowly wearing down. An impact, the deafening sound, the smell of blood, all of those merged together, chafing Rhea's heart in the process. Why did he go at such lengths to protect her? How could he endure all that without letting out a single cry? Schreiber's attacks would not kiss, it was not like he could fly, yet he kept assaulting the two from every angle, kicking off the air like it was laden with invisible walls. At the speed the two were moving, each of Schreiber's jumps would cause an explosion of friction, blasting Ren and Rhea back into the air, forbidding them from ever reaching solid ground. And there was another being that pursued them. A giant hand extended from the skeletal wall of the castle. He was the least likely to allow their escape. Despair stiffened Rhea's shaking voice. Meanwhile, the maddened beast howled with jubilation, ready to deliver the finishing blow to its prey. The resigned blast shattered the blast blades that covered Rhea's fragile frame. Ren could neither advance nor retreat from that position. A giant hand assailed them from the skies of the demon castle as the Ashen Knight intended to devour all and everything launched at them from behind. But just as the death was about to descend upon the two, both the maddened beast and the bastard were cast to frost in response to the god's command. However, Ren and Rhea were not granted the repose of a narrow escape. He looked down upon them from the gates of the castle, brandishing the holy lance. He demanded more entertainment, refusing to let the banquet end. A golden light shot at them, burning the ground below in its wake. Yet the thrust quite clearly did not contain the lance's full power. Ren, who was battered all over from Schreiber's attacks, managed to withstand the blow. Even Rhea seemed to have remained unscathed. For someone of Reinhardt's caliber, it was indeed a most underwhelming strike. A puzzling outcome, but with that, the night was over. The two lived to fight another day. Still, Ren landed on the ground and, surrounded by the resulting dust, let out an enraged howl at the devil's castle in the sky. Unforgivable, unforgivable, they would pay, he'd make them pay. Death, death to them all, death, 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 death. Okay, bloodlust filled his heart to the brim. Ren could not bear to look. She knew him well, he suffered, realizing that he was the last one alive. She naturally, almost unconsciously, embraced Ren's head in her arms.
もう、泣かないで。
She didn't know whether her voice could reach him or if his mind even registered her existence. But she wished for him to feel her warmth and hear the beating of her heart, to have its stable rhythm smooth his mind.
藤井君は悪くない。何も、全然間違ってないよ。
What meaning was there in such a phrase? Her words came from the bottom of her very soul, yet they sounded like nothing more than a makeshift excuse to ease his mind. Still, she felt like saying it just the same. She wished for him to know how she felt, and understand just how much he meant to her.
藤井君がいてくれなかったら、私なんかダメなんだよ。今頃、ここにこうしていないよ。
They'd lost all those close to them. Lisa, Padetrifa, Ayase, Yusa. If he hadn't been there for her, she would have turned the cock of the castle by now. She'd have eroded beyond hell, forever shunned by the world of the living.
せめて、それだけは分かって。ほら、聞こえてる？私、生きてるよ。藤井君のおかげで、生きてるよ。さっきも守ってくれたよね。もういいから放り捨ててって私本気で思ってたけど、やっぱり男の子は力強くて振りほどこうとしたけどダメだった。
And his embrace filled her with joy.
私、自分でも呆れるくらい気持ちぐらぐら揺れちゃってさ。最初は絶対なんとかしようって強気だったのに、すぐ折れちゃう。ひどいことがいっぱいあって、ひどいものもいっぱい見て、そしたら自分はもうダメだって逃げ出したくなっちゃうの。
She could not cope with the fact that her existence brought death upon those around her. Her weak heart ended up inadvertently wishing for her own demise. She felt like running to the netherworld to seek redemption.
血筋なのかな。あんまり人のせいにしたくないし、実際よくわかんないけど、それをいつも思いとどまらせてくれたのは藤井君なんだよ。
She who was prone to wishing for her own death. A coward, a spineless fool who tread the world with a faltering step.
君だけがいつも助けてくれるんだよ。ここ、まだ動いてるだろうって教えてくれるの。私、君と生きたいから。君と一緒にいたいから。
So please don't cry. Stop blaming yourself. There is a lone girl whom your actions most definitely saved.
俺は誰も守れなくて。
それ、悪い癖だよ。
He'd always blamed himself. Ren knew he was an amazing guy, but he should try and trust her sometimes. His obsession with keeping all of the wounds to himself, his suffering, would then trigger a bad habit of her own.
藤井君がどうしても悔やみきれないって言うなら、
She'd be lying if she said she didn't hesitate for a second.
私一人を諦めればみんな戻ってくるかもしれないよ。君にとってはその方が幸せじゃない？
If they acknowledged defeat, gave up on their struggle, and let themselves melt into the castle, they could all be together again.
藤井君がそうしたいなら私はいいよ。だからねえ、お願い、もう傷つかないで。 私は、他の何よりも君のことが。
俺は、
He interrupted her mid-sentence.
それは、ダメだ。それだけは、やっちゃいけない。
He forced his voice out as if spitting blood. In contrast to his words, Ra could feel Ren's whole body tremble with internal conflict. She understood what he felt crystal clear, but chose not to show it.
ありえない。ありえない。霞も四郎も他のみんなも、あんなところに繋ぐなんて、絶対にさせない。
After all, a good woman would not interfere when a man was trying to act the hero.
その道だけは何があっても選ばない。ムロ先輩を死なせたりなんかしない。
Thanks.
やっと、私の好きな藤井くんに戻ってくれたね。じゃあさ、前に教会で言ってくれたこと、もう一回言ってよ。
She felt sorry for making fun of him at the time. To tell the truth, those words made her heart almost leap out of her throat. And so she wanted to hear them one more time. She wished for him to share his scourge with her.
俺は絶対諦めたりしない。
And to do that,
一緒に勝とう。
they had to persevere and return to their old lives.
生きるんだ。俺たちは。
And craving such a woe upon our hearts, we once again stood up, invigorated by a new power, one that each of us provided to the other. A faltering consciousness, a crumbling body, the Green Reaper had me in his hands, melting my soul to the abyss of gold. I knew this would happen. It was like I was satisfied with this outcome, but I had long since given up at this point. I knew my limits. A miracle would never grace me. Self-scorn, self-condemnation, regret. Why couldn't the sea of chaos swallow me already, liberating me from a curse of thought? Who the hell are we with now, right now? I was waiting for that moment. And yet... Wait. She did not die? Okay, I have to continue this. I opened my eyes to a starlit sky. I lay on my back as the moon showered me with its ethereal light. I didn't quite understand what was going on. I remembered Machina struck me. The curtains of my existence must have been drawn shut. The golden devil's castle drifted in the air above me. It seemed awfully small in the distance, but I could also clearly make it out now. So that was what happened.
どこまでも知性は知性って言いたいわけね。今すぐ解ける資格すらないと。
What a freaking piece of shit they are, aren't they? But at least you won't die there. They used my body as a convenient tool for their purpose. I was sprayed away from the castle and cast down to the earth as sacrifice to the next swastika. Fuck. This was probably the location of the sixth. They did not even permit me to die a glorious death and rest for a while. Now I had to quell the hunger of this sorry place before they take me back.
ひどい。容赦なさすぎ。
They'd killed me twice in a row. I'd have to taste the same terror and despair all over again. Whatever, like I cared. After all, I was just eternally in the mud, unable to catch up to anyone, unable to reach my place. I passed away while gazing up at the deep canopy of the grand sky, extending my hand towards it, fruitlessly craving for the heavens. Who would ask for a more perfect end?
恋しい。
I envied it so.
眩しい。
But I could never reach it.
追いつけないなら止めてやろうって思ったのに。
There once was a person who taught me about the sanctity of the ephemeral. But I could no longer remember who it was. The last memories I hoped to keep uncaged began to wither and fade.
待ってよ。置いていかないで。
In that moment, I felt someone looking down me. Who was it? My head moved by itself, extending towards a certain someone looking at me from the heavens. I paid no heed to my rapidly grounding body. Just a bit further. Just a little bit further. A little. Please don't leave me. God damn it, don't leave her.
私、会いたい人。
Can someone fucking save her right now, please? The mysterious shadow who initially set me up on this path. And the other man. For fuck's sake, someone save her, please, please! The one who loved the ephemeral and yearned to become eternal.
永遠になれば、また会えるかもしれなくて。永遠になれば、愛されるかも。
Save her! Fuck, save her! I couldn't know for sure. I had no guarantees, but I didn't want to be left behind ever again.
だから。
Give me your hand. Right on the brink of death, extend my arm towards the sky. Not to pull someone down, not to drown them in filth. I merely want to take hold of hand I failed to grasp back then. The same hand that was once washed away by the river of time.
お願い。
I reached out, longing, yearning. Come on! And the moment I reached it, realization finally dawned upon me. I couldn't see his face and understand anything, neither who he was nor what he was doing or what he thought of me. But I felt him with my soul.
なんだ。あなた。そんなところにいたのね。
Huh? It was him, there was no doubt about it. Therefore, what should I say? My lips parted before I had time to think.
今でも。刹那が。愛しい。
Did you still wish to make them eternal?
例えば。この。今も。
Would my death remain in your mind as a moment to adore, an ephemeral glitter to be loved? Would he preserve it for an eternity? And the answer.
ああ。時の止まった普遍は好きだよ。
He answered with the very same line as in the past. It sounded so ridiculous I couldn't help but cry, but it was due to some inexplicable motion, that much I knew for certain.
と。あなたは変人ね。
お前に言われたくはないぞ、ルサルカ。
I felt satisfied with that brief déjà vu of an exchange.
さようなら。今度は。私が先に行く。
Isn't this Ren? I mean, the guy she's thinking that actually wasn't calling her Rusalka if I remember correctly. And so still somewhat mirthful that I had a chance to say the words I'd always want to about in the night sky. Oh, come on! Silberner du am Himmelschild. Strahlst auf uns nieder, voll Liebe. Still schwebst du über Wald und Feld. Blickst auf der Menschheit Getriebe. Och Mond, wer Weile bleibe, sage mir doch, wo mein Schatz weile. Sage ihm, wander im Himmelsraum. Ich würde seiner gedenken, mög Lebt im Hell, sag ihm, dass ich ihn liebe. Sieht der Mensch mich im Traumgesicht. I don't even know if I'm spelling that correctly. I mean, seriously. Speaking, or well, maybe not, but reading German so long ago that it's ridiculous. Wach auf meiner Gedenkend. Sing and dance, O fairy of the lake, may the moon grace you with its gentle ephemeral light. She had finally found her answer, she had finally found him. And so she prayed, longing for his radiance to dispel all shadows. Believing that miracle with every fiber of her being. Whoa, that's... Wait. Give me a second. Okay, Christoph was shot down in this as well. Chapter 10, Solus et Omnibus End. Let's end the episode as well. And in the next one we are starting chapter 11. Damn. It might actually be even better than Mari's route. So yeah, they managed. Even though we are not done yet, I think I'm going to risk it that this route might be even a little bit better. But we'll see. For now, hope you enjoyed it. Tomorrow we shall continue. See you then. Bye bye.